All right, good afternoon and welcome. I'm Corporal Chris Marshall, Provincial Public Information Officer for the Nova Scotia RCMP. I'll be your moderator. Bonjour et bienvenue, je suis le caporal Chris Marshall, agent d'information provincial de la GRC de la Nouvelle-Écosse. Je serai votre modérateur. First, I acknowledge that we're in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional and unceded ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. I also recognize that African Nova Scotians are a distinct people whose history, legacies, and contributions that have enriched that part of Mi'kma'ki known as Nova Scotia for over 400 years. Premièrement, je reconnais que nous nous trouvons à Mi'kma'ki, un territoire ancestral, traditionnel et non cédé du peuple Mi'kmaq. Je reconnais également que les Néo-Écossais d'origine africaine constituent un peuple distinct dont l'histoire, l'héritage et les contributions ont enrichi cette partie de Mi'kma'ki connue sous le nom de la Nouvelle-Écosse depuis plus que 400 ans. This afternoon, you will hear from Chief Superintendent Sue Black, Criminal Operations Officer for the Nova Scotia RCMP, and Premier Tim Houston. Chief Superintendent Black will provide a brief statement in both official languages in relation to the search for the 4 people reported missing on July 22nd, followed by Premier Houston. We will then move into a question and answer period. Sergeant Rob Frizzell, Operations Non-Commissioned Officer, West Hants RCMP, is also here and will be available to answer questions during the question and answer period. Cet après-midi, vous entendrez la surintendante principale Sue Black, officière responsable des enquêtes criminelles de la GRC de la Nouvelle-Écosse, et le Premier ministre Tim Houston. La surintendante principale Black fera une brève déclaration dans les 2 langues officielles concernant la recherche des 4 personnes portées disparues le 22 juillet, suivies par le Premier ministre Houston. Nous passerons ensuite une période de questions et réponses. Le sergent Rob Frizzell, sous-officier des opérations de la GRC de West Hants, est également présent et sera disponible pour répondre aux questions pendant la période de questions et réponses. Chief Superintendent Black, I invite you to the podium. Surintendant principal Black, je vous invite à prendre la parole.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Bonjour à tous. Je vous remercie de votre présence and thank you for coming. With a very heavy heart, I can share that about 10:45 this morning, searchers recovered the body of a child in the primary search area in Brooklyn. I can also now confirm that the remains located yesterday in Hants County were also those of a child. Both are believed to be related to the 4 people who reported missing on July 22nd, when the region was experiencing extreme flood conditions. We are continuing to work with the Nova Scotia Medical Examiner's Office with regard to positively identifying the remains of both children. C'est avec le cœur lourd que je peux vous annoncer qu'à environ à 10h45 ce matin, les chercheurs ont retrouvé le corps d'un enfant dans la zone de recherche principale à Brooklyn. Je peux également confirmer que les restes retrouvés hier dans le comté de Kings étaient également ceux d'un enfant. On pense que ces 2 corps sont liés aux 4 personnes qui ont été portées disparues le 22 juillet pendant des inondations extrêmes. Nous continuons à travailler avec le bureau du médecin légiste de la Nouvelle-Écosse afin d'identifier avec certitude les restes des 2 enfants. This is a devastating time for the children's families, their loved ones, and their communities. And I want to extend sincere condolences on behalf of everyone at the Nova Scotia RCMP. C'est une période très difficile pour les familles des enfants, leurs proches et leur communauté, et je tiens à exprimer mes sincères condoléances au nom de tous les employés de la GRC de Nouvelle-Écosse. Since the beginning of the search, the families of the 4 who were unaccounted for during the flooding in West Hants have been at the forefront of our thoughts. Depuis le début des recherches, les familles des 4 personnes disparues lors des inondations à West Hants sont au centre de nos préoccupations. As we speak, the search to locate the last person, the missing youth, continues. En ce moment, les recherches se poursuivent pour retrouver la dernière personne, un jeune disparu. Ground search and rescue teams from West Hants, East Hants, Digby, Annapolis County, and Valley, multiple fire departments, RCMP, police dog services, air services, The Department of Natural Resources and Renewables and private contractors have all been working together in the search efforts. Les équipes de recherche et de sauvetage au sol de West Hants, East Hants, Digby, Comté d'Annapolis et Valley, les équipes de plusieurs services d'incendie, les services aériens et les services de chiens policiers de la GRC, le ministère des Ressources naturelles et des énergies renouvelables, ainsi que, des entrepreneurs privés, continuent tous de collaborer aux efforts de recherche. This afternoon, they remain focused on the primary search area in Brooklyn, where efforts to reduce the water level are continuing. Cet après-midi, ils restent concentrés sur la principale zone de recherche à Brooklyn, où les efforts pour réduire le niveau d'eau se poursuivent. The expertise and dedication of the searchers, many of whom are volunteers working in extremely difficult conditions, is exceptional and reflects their commitment to serving others. L'expertise et le dévouement des chercheurs, dont beaucoup sont des bénévoles qui travaillent dans des conditions extrêmement difficiles, sont exceptionnels et reflètent leur engagement au service aux autres. I thank them for their tremendous work so far. Je les remercie pour leur travail considérable jusqu'à présent. Sergeant Rob Frizzell is here, as mentioned by Chris. He's with West Hants District RCMP, and he's here with me to help answer questions, any specific questions about the search. Le sergent Rob Frizzell du district de la GRC de West Hants est ici aujourd'hui pour aider à répondre aux questions plus spécifiques au niveau de la recherche.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I'll call up Premier Houston for his remarks. Premier.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Another incredibly sad day in what's now been a series of terrible days in this province. Where the whole entire province is sick with mourning for the loss of 3 souls now. The tragedy that's happened here is really unimaginable. Really hard to comprehend, for sure. We can, in this province, we've shown we can handle a lot. We can handle a lot. We've had the fires and the hurricanes and another series of floods, but this really doesn't compare. And I know that this is a time when words truly are meaningless, but I want the family to know how very sorry we are for their loss, and our sincere condolences. I also, I can continue to be amazed by the tireless efforts of our first responders. I can't imagine the emotions that they're feeling right now. They've completely heroic efforts we've seen from our first responders over the last 3 days, I guess, going on 4 days. So I want to thank them for their efforts, and we pray for the one remaining soul that continues to be missing. We'll pray for that soul and their family. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. All right. We'll now proceed with the question and answer period. For the benefit of all participants, please provide your name, the outlet you represent, and to whom your question is directed. We'll be limiting the question and answer period to one question and one follow-up each. Nous allons maintenant passer à la période de questions et réponses. Pour le bénéfice de tous les participants, veuillez indiquer votre nom, l'organisation vous représente et à qui s'adresse votre question. Nous limiterons la période de questions et réponses à une question et un suivi. I guess first we'll go to Sarah. We'll go to you first. Rob, perhaps I'll... Yeah, Rob.
Hello, thank you. Your question about where the vehicles were going? Sure. The initial investigation from speaking with the people that survived from those vehicles, as well as the surrounding area, we reason to believe that they were fleeing their house. So they were leaving their residence, trying to get to a safe area, and that's when they were struck with the storm surge as they were leaving, and were kind of pushed off of the road into a field that then quickly flooded with water. Sorry. Right now we have spoken to the families and have let them know, but in consultation with the medical examiner's office, we're still deeming them tentative identifications, so I can't go into specifics of their names or anything else other than to say they were 2 children at this time. French or en français.
Alors, ouais, les personnes qui étaient dans leur véhicule au moment que les inondations sont arrivées dans la région quittaient leur maison pour se rendre à une place où il sera plus sauf. Et vraiment, c'était quand ils quittaient la maison que les inondations ont commencé et ont été poussés de la route dans un champ. Et leurs véhicules ont été complètement envahis par l'eau. Next question, David? Cal?
Alan's got those news, I guess. First of all, how big of a search area are we looking at now for this?
It's the question of how big of a search area we're looking at. So right now we've designated 2 zones. So we have what we call a primary zone. That was the area that we were trying to drain with water with that private company as well as the fire department. That water has been drained, and that search zone is now more of a methodical step-by-step zone. That's our highest likelihood area and where 2 of the 3 deceased were located. That's the size of an average field, I guess, several hundred square feet. Directly beside that, we call it a secondary zone or a higher probability zone. That area is also a field, and that is being drained with the province has broken some dikes to try and clear out water that way. And once that's lower, they'll continue the search in there. And then finally that search, the 3rd search zone, is going to be along the river, following up towards where the 3rd individual is located or potentially beyond. But those are our 3 main areas right now.
Give us an indication as to how close the 3 individuals were when you spotted them. I understand there's 2 separate days here. How close were the individuals and how close were the vehicles being found?
Yeah, so 1 deceased was found quite some distance away on the shore in Hants County, but the other 2 that were deceased that were found in very close proximity, approximately 150 feet apart, and they would have been within 100 feet of the vehicles.
Alors, pour la distance entre les véhicules et où est-ce que les décédés ont été localisés, évidemment, il y avait une personne, un des enfants, a été localisé dans le comté de Kings, alors c'est quand même une assez grande distance entre la zone primaire et où est-ce que la personne a été localisée. Pour les 2 autres, ils étaient localisés vraiment dans la zone primaire, assez proche des véhicules où est-ce qu'ils étaient dedans quand les véhicules ont été envahis d'eau. Oui, les véhicules étaient dans la route. Comme j'ai dit avant, ils essayaient d'arriver à une zone plus sauf pour eux autres de s'enfuir dans l'endroit où est-ce qu'il y avait des inondations, puis ils ont été poussés de la route dans un champ.
Est-ce que vous êtes au courant s'il y a eu d'autres décès en raison des inondations ici ou ailleurs
Je vais répondre en français en premier. Alors vraiment, les seuls 4 décès reliées à les inondations en ce moment dans la Nouvelle-Écosse, c'est vraiment il y a 3 décès confirmés, puis il y a une 4e personne encore qu'on est à la recherche, un jeune qui était porté disparu pendant les inondations ici dans la région de West Hants cette fin de semaine. The question was basically, are we aware of any other people that are missing or any other deaths related to what occurred in the weekend? Yeah, I can answer it. So basically, yeah, so just to answer the question in English, there was only 4 people that we were aware of that were reported missing, basically. Obviously, we've had three people confirmed deceased at this point, and we're still looking for a 4th person, a youth that was reported missing on the weekend. Any other questions from anybody else?
Are you able to tell us what road they were traveling on? Were both vehicles on the same road?
What road they were traveling on? Were both vehicles on the same road? Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. About what route? Yeah, both vehicles were traveling on the same road in very close proximity. They were both driving around the same time, we believe, very close together in Brooklyn. And I apologize, but the actual number of the road escapes me right now. It's off Highway 14, but I'm struggling with the name right now. Sorry. It's okay.
You say that both cars were driving down the road around the same time. Is there any other connection between the 2 vehicles?
Not that I'm aware of. No, it was just simply that both of them were trying to traverse that road at the same time.
And what time did this happen?
This happened in the early morning hours of Saturday. So I think the window was around 4 a.m. I think at the time, Saturday morning, in close proximity there.
And I just wanted to clarify, they were both traveling with their vehicles on the road when it was the water that washed them off the road. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Give us an idea of just how strong water would have to be for that to happen.
I wouldn't really be able to speak to like the sheer force, other than to put it in context. When we first started the scene, there was a semi-truck that had also been pushed off of the road, so it would have been a full semi-truck with a fully loaded cargo, and it was pushed clean off the road as well. And the water level, it's normally a hayfield, it was above the top of that semi-truck. So the sheer volume of that water would be quite significant, but I don't have great specifics for you.
Suzanne Brent with the Examiner. Can you tell me, the people who were in the vehicle with the children, how are they doing? Suffer injuries?
The other people that were inside the vehicle were transported to hospital for assessment by, they were helped out by a bystander and then transported by an officer to a hospital. They were released. We followed up and are in contact with them. Obviously, my heart goes out to them of being in that situation and having their children. So they're doing as well as can be, but physically they're released and fine, but the mental part. Vehicles, yeah. At this time, I can't give you that specific part, other than to say both vehicles had multiple occupants.
We know that one of the vehicles was a pickup that was found in the flooded field. What kind of vehicle, like, was the other vehicle? Was it also a pickup?
Yeah, the pickup truck was a very large, I believe it's an F550. It's a very, very large pickup truck, bonks, and it was swept and moved. And the other vehicle was an SUV type vehicle.
Okay, we have time for one last question. So, Carol, you've had your hand up a couple times.
I would ask who the mayor to say she was on the news today.
Just hang on one second. Carol, do you have to say?
We kind of alluded to her about how deep the water was in the field, the primary area. Can you just have a little better example of like how deep it actually was and how much you had to drain?
Yeah, I'm not really great with numbers, that part for you, other than to say the water was, I would approximate it at close to 10 feet tall, like above a semi-truck, like on all that height, and extremely wide, so several 100,000 liters. There were multiple pumping units set up with 12-inch, 6-inch hoses that were pumping tens of thousands of liters a minute of water to get that out. So it was an extremely significant, we call it like a lake worth of water to move.
All right, so, yeah. What we'll do now is we'll end the question and answer period now, and then obviously if you want to speak, if you want the mayor to deliver some, obviously if you're okay with that, Mayor, then yeah, cool. It's up to you. You're good. Okay. So the mayor is going to pass on providing any remarks. So with that, again, we thank you very much for coming here today. This concludes our press conference. Ceci conclut notre point de presse. Merci.